so much, everyone, for joining this live session. I'm Shweta Bajaj from 12 plus years. I am into coaching, consulting, and training. With us today on this live series, we have Dr. Ruby Bakshi. She is from Switzerland. She is CEO and founder of RBK Academy Swiss. She's a TEDx speaker and a lot more. And thank you so much, Dr. Ruby, for accepting our request on being on this live.
Thank you, Shweta, for the invitation. I'm really looking forward to our conversation today.
Thank you so much. And today's topic is emotional intelligence. Dr. Ruby, I want from you to share about your journey, how you become super emotional intelligence coach and trainer. And yes, please tell us.
Well, the journey starts with a dream, and I always had a dream to do something different, something unique, which will carve a niche in a foreign country. And it started with when I moved to Switzerland. I always had this in my mind: how can I be different from others who are already in this field, who are doing amazing work? So when you have a dream, of course, you put all your energy, you put all your efforts to make that dream come true. Otherwise, it will always be a dream. So I started with my female networks, like because in a foreign country, I felt so lonely coming from India. और इतना buzz होता है, इतना excitement होता है. Everyone is like, beaming and buzzing to be with you. Here I felt little lonely and aloof in the beginning. So I formed some female network groups. I started going to networking events to be a little bit more visible, to see what people are doing that can be really different and unique. And that's how I started looking more and more things, observing more, because when you are on a journey, you need to observe as well. And as a person from India, I was always very curious what to do and what not to do. Because when you are on a journey, you want to do things which are a little different. And I was into reading because in the beginning, I was not sure whether I'm going to stay here for long or I'm here for a short period of time. So I started reading books. And then I got my hands on the books of Daniel Goleman, who is, for me, he is known as the father of emotional intelligence. And the more and more I read about EI, the more and more I became passionate about, wow, this is something amazing, this is something unique. And I must pursue a little bit more into what it is, how it is. And while reading, I saw that most of the things I was already doing, like I'm an empathetic person coming from a very nice, I would say, protective family. So as a person, I have always been empathetic, but practicing it and putting those words like empathy, resilience, all those big book words was amazing. And
Right.
by and by, I just started discovering more and more people, like-minded people. I started making more connections with them. And I would say in a journey which was very consistent and slow, like slow and steady, I win the race. So by taking small steps, observing and taking care and small notes of people's behavior, I think I evolved as a person. It's not something that is learned in a day. It is something that is a journey that is learned consistently.
Amazing. I'm really flattered. Thank you so much for sharing your precious journey, the memoir, you have shared with us. And here, like you from academic background, you are coming and then in the training, in the emotional intelligence, a drastic shift. It's a part of the life. Thank you so much. So what, according to you, this emotional intelligence for future leadership, what it
Mhm.
means?
In the world that we are living right now, that is artificial intelligence, right? The future leadership looks a little bit more, I would say, in terms of I think it's more critical, because the more we are learning and going towards the AI world, the more we have to practice our emotional intelligence. So it's a critical
Hmm.
ability, I would say, in terms of managing our own emotions and trying to see what we can do together in the AI world. And I think to navigate these complex AI driven environments, EI is something really very much needed. And beyond being just a soft skill, because a lot of people say EI is just a soft skill. You can manipulate it, you can work on it, you can show that you are happy even if you're not happy. But I think for me, it is something strategic that combines self awareness, self regulation, empathy, and all social skills that we require, especially right now, to encourage psychological safety. Because the more you feel safe, the more you feel trusted, the more you feel valued in a diverse environment, the more you will be confident to step forward. So future leaders must use high EQ to build authentic relationships, because that's something very important, because right now everything kind of looks a bit fake, and to maintain a
Right.
human centered relationship in an automated world. so that they are able to balance empathy with high stakes of decision making. Because sometimes when you're in crucial situations, you are kind of complex. You just put it, what should I do? Like you just put it in any of these AI tools. So it will give you the results, but it's not something which is genuine and can actually work well in all situations. So essentially, it means leading with humanity, ensuring that employee well-being is number one priority, motivation and adaptability during this constant technological change, because we are not going to stop here. We are going to expect much more. So it's important
Right.
that take slow and steady steps with your eyes open and being resilient, because it's normal. We may not be successful in first go. So some people who just give up, I failed, so it's not going to help them. We have to take small steps and be more resilient and highly motivated that you can move forward.
A very important point you have picked up here, inclusive leadership, inclusive environment and bringing the psychological safety so
Yeah,
that their emotional intelligence bloom over the time. And
exactly.
amazing. Yeah. And like according to you, as AI growing, AI, the use of emotions, or you
Hmm.
can say EQ become a real differentiator for the person, right? So how a
True.
leader, a team player is there, then how a team leader make sure that he is using EQ, with IQ, yeah, as well.
True. I think that's a very important question. It's very important as our leaders are going to be a little bit more EQ centered. They
Hmm.
have to ensure that every person in the room who is there in the team, he or she is well prepared. Because if we are practicing diversity, we have to be inclusive as well. Since in a diverse environment, like for example, I can give you here in my classrooms, I have students for roughly 20 to 30 nationalities at all times. So when we have people
Really?
from, yes, so when we have people from so many different nationalities, it's important. Some are making noise. You ask the question, आपने question खत्म भी नहीं किया and लोगों के हाथ उठ गए. And in the same classroom, there's some students who are very quiet, who are just
Hmm.
sitting in the corner, listening and looking at you. So what I do is I try to balance by making sure that I'm asking questions to the people who are ready to answer, and also involving people or involving students who are a little quieter, not making them, oh my God, not them
Hmm.
putting on the spot, but making them feel, hey, what's your opinion? Would you like to share your opinion? So when we as
Right.
educators do these kind of things in the classroom, our intention is not to put our students in the spotlight. I'm sure some of my students are going to be watching and they will remember those scenarios in the classroom that would happen, because I always told them it's not me who's leading the classroom, it's we who are leading the classroom. I'm going to share the
Hmm.
information, but ultimately I prefer that you are leading it. It's more student led, because the more you are a part of whatever is happening, whether it's a classroom, whether it's a training program, whether it's any discussion in parliament as well, whatever, whichever scenario it is, the more you include people in the discussion, both actively, of course some become passive. So your the role of a EQ manager is to involve those passive people in the discussion so that they feel valued and they are part of it in the long run.
Amazing, bringing that environment in the culture, where there are
Mhm.
diverse personalities, and letting them know that yes, it is a safe space and they can be inclusive, they can share, they can open up.
True.
Amazing. This is the wonderful example which you have shared about this EQ from your life only. So here, when we mention about understanding and bringing that kind of environment shift, there are
Hmm.
certain factors a leader, should
Yeah.
take care. So, what factors you think, one or two factors which are very important, leaders should take care of bringing such kind of inclusive EQ environment?
What exactly do you mean? Like what factors in terms of practicing in the classroom or practicing in a daily work environment, or what factors basically you're asking?
Yeah, for example, when we are bringing this inclusive environment, there should
Yeah.
be adaptability, like there
Yeah.
should be EQ, So you can mention three to four factors which team leader, in professional environment, we can bring the emotional intelligence.
Okay, all right. I think it's very important when we are, especially in a professional environment, we have to make sure that whenever we are delegating responsibilities, we are not just delegating blindly. We are
Mm-hmm.
delegating responsibility on the basis of the expertise, on the basis of experience. If that person has experience, if he or she has some kind of, has worked on that particular project before, so then he or she feels comfortable, because then he or she, in case there's a mistake, in case there's an error, he will be accountable. But in case he or she doesn't have, because we always have to take into consideration there are some young people who have no experience, so they have zero experience, they are looking for an opportunity. So we should not forget those people as well. So if you are giving them responsibility by showing, hey, I trust you, I value you, this is, I know this is your first time, it's normal, you will make a mistake, it's okay to make a mistake, in case you're stuck, just come to me. So these words are very motivating, these words are very, for a beginner, for a person who's starting his life or career, it's very, I would say, making him feel that he or she can breathe. Because if you remember, Swati, I'm sure you must have gone through when you gave your first podcast or when you first had your very first work experience, I'm sure there is a lot of stress. There's a lot of emotions, both negative and positive. So if you try to control them, not by something like you have to do, you need to do, like, by pointing fingers, but by saying, hey guys, it's normal, it's your first time. So be sure
Right.
that you take small steps. In case you don't understand, ask me, because it's your project and I give you 100% delegation. You are accountable for it. But at the same time, don't make them scared by saying 100% responsible, because at the end of the day, you are still their boss, you're still their supervisor or whatever mentor, whatever role you're playing. So make them feel that you have their back. In case they are finding it difficult or it's too overwhelming, they have your back and they can always reach out to you in case of crisis. Because at work, things like crisis management, then when you are having diverse teams, it's very normal that you will have conflicts. So conflicts, crisis, overwhelming, time management issues, these are some of the things which are very normal. But when we step into it, some people take it very nicely, they're very comfortable, but some are not. So as a empathetic boss, you have to make sure that you have their back and you're holding their hand in time of crisis and helping them with the conflict resolution as well.
Very important point you have picked here, conflict resolution, which is an important topic. And here, in the pressure, when someone needs to be self-aware, self-awareness is also very important. When you mention decision-making, self-awareness, what do you
Mhm.
think? How does self-awareness affect decision-making in pressure, under pressure in,
How self-awareness affects decision making? Well, I mean, the question lies
Yes,
in your,
absolutely. How does
okay, the answer lies in your own question. Like if a person, if a manager or a boss is self-aware, that means he's very well aware of his shortcomings, his plus and minus points. So of course, self-awareness definitely acts that person or sets that person apart, because the more you are self-aware, the more you are aware of your surroundings, what is going to happen or what might happen. You are a pro at recognizing those alarms, those triggers that might happen. So for me, how I look at it is, if you are self-aware, it is acting as a early warning system under pressure, under critical situations, and preventing emotional hijacking by recognizing those physical stresses. Like sometimes some people start shaking hands, sweaty palms, they start sweating, like you can see them, they are sweating, they're not in their regular frame of mind, rapid heart rate, like the heart starts beating, boom. You can see how a person is reacting by all these very known physical symptoms or physical triggers that happen. So it creates a crucial, I would say it's important, self awareness will create that crucial pause that is required between the stimulus, when there is a trigger that is happening, and the response that you're about to give. Because when you're having a stimulus that you're not prepared for, you start having some like palpitations, or you start feeling uncomfortable. So a person who's more self aware, he or she will be more calm, he will know how to manage those fear based scenarios and not just autopilot decision making. He will understand those personal triggers very well, and those cognitive biases that are there which are surrounding him or her, and manage those anxiety scenarios very well, because he will know that this is something long term, this is something that is going to be there. I mean, I have to be prepared with all those kind of things. So the more he or she is aware of those stimulus that are happening, the more he will be able to control and go with the easy mind without showing that he's also stressed.
right, psychological safety, and as you mentioned, emotional hijacking,
Mhm.
reduce that. It's very important for emotional intelligence. Leaders
True.
should know. Now, how does a leader balance empathy with accountability? Because when you are handling the team, it should be very important, right? So, what
Mhm.
do you think?
I think I think great leaders, they balance empathy and accountability by practicing empathetic accountability. I'm a person who's too much into IQ, so empathy, resilience, you're going to hear a lot in my talk. So it's not just accountability, but being empathetic at the same time. A strategy where you are compassionate, there's a genuine care about people that you're working with, there's a genuine interest in the people, their well being, their mental well being, not physical alone, but mental well being, and a very clear set of performance standards. Because the more you are clear, the more you are confident about what you're supposed to do, automatically you start feeling a bit comfortable. Okay, ye kaam to mujhe aata hai, I can go ahead nicely. And they build trust. And again, psychological safety, as well as the place where you are working, it also should have that safety, that I'm safe in this work environment. Psychological
True.
is that you're safe in doing what you're doing, but also the environmental safety is required. Because imagine you're working in a place jahan par road is kind of, the light is kind of not well, internet is not working very well, and you have to be like, "Arey, ab nahi kaam kar raha hai, nahi kaam kar raha hai," there's no network. So automatically those also add to some, especially for females, it is something which is added thing. So under those scenarios, I think a good boss has to have a clear ownership and has to give measurable goals to his team so that they work in a step by step analysis. And this approach also will require high emotion intelligence, because the more you are highly emotionally intelligent, you will listen well, you will listen actively and give honest feedbacks. Because in today's fast paced work, I think it's very important to give feedbacks from time to time so that you know aap kahan ja rahe ho. Am I in the right direction? Am I really treading in the right way, or I'm kind of deviating from what I'm supposed to do? And also, empathetic boss has to give a very good support system, especially when needed. But if it's not needed, they should, as I already said, they should always feel that he or she has their back, so that whatever expectations are there, they work hand in hand. आप काम कर रहे हो, वो भी चल रहा है, प्लस अगर आप थोड़े से डगमगा रहे हो, or you're having your own doubts, he will give you that self assurance. Ale, you are in good situation, you are working well, keep going, keep running, there's nothing to worry. So that assurance, I think, in today's world is very important.
Very important. And here someone is joining it. Someone mentioned here, Arnab Bural. He mentioned that yes, leaders allow the team member the flexibility to take responsibility, but offers to back him up if needed. Very powerful. So thank you, Arnab, for sharing this comment. Yes. Yeah, Ruby. I mean, it's very important for a leader to back his team and help. Now, as I mentioned, I come back to empathy.
Mhm.
Empathy is internal trait, or you can acquire it. Like, what do you think? It's a skill or a trait?
Empathy, again, thank you, that's my favorite word. And as I said,
Yes.
I keep on using it a lot of times. Empathy is something, I wouldn't say it is you're born with empathy, because it's something that you can, it's a very situational thing. The more you grow, the more you see your surroundings, you will work according to them. So in today's fast-paced world, yes, empathy can also be learned, because it's not something that some people are blessed, they are genuinely empathetic, they are generally having that thing in them inbuilt. But some, they can learn it as they are in those kind of situations. Like, a person who became a boss, he started his story from rags to riches. He'll always remember, जब मैं आया था मेरे पास कुछ नहीं था, I came with 2 suitcases and today I have this empire. So if
Hmm.
you are in that situation, maybe before you were not empathetic, but now because you've achieved it, you know that if I can do it, others can also do. So it is a very situational thing. You can learn every single day. The more you engage with automated scenarios, the more you engage with people who are like you, who are struggling like you when you were a beginner. So of course you can learn it. It's not something, it's a very much learnable skill. It's not a fixed
Yes.
trait, because some people feel I can't be empathetic, it is just acting, people just act it out, it's not real. But I will just say it's not a fixed trait, it's very much learnable. And especially leaders can nurture that, I call it empathy muscle, through active listening, when they are genuinely listening to the people, genuinely listening to their employees. And they also show vulnerability. It's not something that because you're a boss you can't have pain, or because you're a boss you can't have troubles. So you're actually showing, by showing that even I am your boss, I also go through these phases. Like when I'm teaching public speaking, yeah, this is a very relatable example. Some of my students are very scared, when I just tell them, okay, we are going to do on spot jamming. So they start sweating, they start like, my throat is not well. They start doing like this, or they start showing that, they are very shaky, they can't take care of it. So when I share with them, when I started my journey, I was also like you. I was also very much uncomfortable by going on the stage, by coming forward and all that. I would feel that people are watching me, and that would make me uncomfortable. So don't worry, it's fine. Just go with the flow. Don't think about this at all. It is not something that I was born with, but I worked to become a public speaker. So if I can do it, you can do as well. So when I share these stories, storytelling is another way that you can show them that there's a lot to learn. It's not just something that people are born with a silver spoon, or are born with empathy or public speaking or whatever. These days, anything can be learned. If you have the passion, if you have the dedication, you can achieve that.
Wow, I mean, when you picked up this thing, vulnerability, because team leaders usually don't show they are vulnerable. And when you mentioned that it helps you to build trust, to
True.
rapport with the team, it's a very important point, which I think every team leader should take it, because they have pressure of being perfect all the time, the perfect
Hmm.
face, perfect everything, and wonderful. Now, when you mentioned, yes, empathy can be learned,
Hmm.
now there is two another words, which is inspire and instruct.
Hmm.
There is difference between inspiration and instruction. So when a
Hmm.
leader inspire or when a leader instruct, there is a
Yeah.
difference. So
Yeah.
how a person can be emotionally intelligent and
Hmm.
being having both qualities, instruct in a proper manner and
True.
inspire the team as well.
Hmm. I think, Swati, that's a very good question. A lot of people would relate to it. So thank you for asking this question. I think inspiring leaders differ from those who instruct by focusing on the why factor rather on what. Because whenever we are these days delegating any task, we focus on the 5W approach, which will lead it to the H, that is how, why, when, what, who, where, which will deliberately lead to the how to do the task. So, an inspiring leader will always work on why. If you see someone is not feeling well, or if you see someone was working very well in the beginning and suddenly the performance has gone down, you're not going to ask or raise fingers like, what the hell is wrong with you, why you're not working. You as an inspiring person will think why he's not working well. So they work on the why factor, and they share a compelling purpose driven vision that connects daily work to a larger mission. It's not just finishing the task is done, chalo ho gaya, aage chalo. No, their work is much more long term. So they're always trying
Yeah.
to see the best side of their team, like what can be done, how it can be done. And they're always making sure that they don't leave their team behind. While an instructor, he is more task based. He is always focusing more on authority. He or she is always focusing more on how to get the work done. So inspiration thing is little bit taking a backseat for them, because they're more task focused. They just want to get the work done and move forward. And that's why they are a
Right.
little different. Inspirational leader would be more on people's well-being. He or she's also working on how to complete the task, but at the same time, he's also seeing or taking into consideration, how was the journey? Did you enjoy doing the task? Was it fun? Are you happy as the task is coming to an end? So that is something which is very important between the two. And inspiring leader will always make sure that the team is going together, whereas the instructional leader would make sure that the task is getting accomplished on time. So again, I'll share an example. Inspiring leader can even make his team work on a Sunday without them frowning. He will make like, okay, let's do this. Get like Sunday, are you all available? I'm also available. Let's get done. Whereas an instructional leader might say, hey guys, I find myself a little stuck. So please take care of it. We want to get it done by Monday morning. So if you guys are free, just get it done. I don't care when and how, but I want it to be done. And if Sunday is available for all of you, just go and get it done. So he's not being the part of the team. He just wants work accomplishment. I'm just giving this a lame example, but
Right.
then
Right.
got
Right.
my point. Inspiring is always someone who is with them as a team player and making it fun and activity. Like, barbecue. But leader would want the task finishing, but not really focusing on well-being of his employees, which is a must, especially today in the AI world.
Yeah, which is very important. I mean, well-being, taking care of well-being of the employees is very important. Once I was watching a video of China employees. I was just
Hmm.
exploring. I find out a factory owner tell that okay, employees want to work. They have that
Hmm.
zeal to work more. They don't want to go home because they want to work.
Hmm.
That kind of bonding, that kind of emotional intelligence they have shown that employees love to work. What they are
True.
doing, they are loving that thing. Yeah. Now here, when we talk about empathy, when we talk about emotional intelligence,
Mhm.
then active listening is one part, right? Next part is communication, right? When
True.
you listen, you are communicating. Now,
Hmm.
how to improve communication so that you look like an emotional intelligent leader?
Okay, yeah, I think that also is something very relatable in present world, because when we talk about emotional intelligence, it definitely helps in improving communication. Because when you're emotionally involved in a person's well-being, or when you're emotionally involved with your employees or people who are working with you, whether it's your employees, whether it's your students, whether it's your any interest group, whether it's professional or non-professional, you make sure that your work is understood. Whatever you are saying, whatever information that you want to share, it is understood well. And emotions play a very important role, because like sometimes in schools, I remember when we were small, when we would see that our teacher was not in a good mood, we would never ask her anything. But when we saw that teacher smiling, hello, good morning, how are you, she had a smile and she was like little relaxed, we would always ask a question that we were looking forward to be answered.
Hmm.
So it's like, it's a very emotional thing. How you are, how your emotions play a very important role in making you a complete person and getting your work done. So because it enhances active listening, it allows people to pick up the non-verbal cues very clearly. Even if you're not speaking, just your behavior, just your body language is good enough to send the vibes or send the signal how a person is feeling right now. So
Right.
by managing their own emotional responses, or by managing your own way of doing things, individual can stay calm under pressure, and some, they become completely opposite, they become highly reactive. So it's very important, especially now, how under those uncalm or under those stressful situations, you reflect your behavior. Because ultimately, it is an emotional trigger. Whether you are happy, whether you are sad, whether you are angry, whatever you're going through, it's an emotional trigger. So the more you are able to calm down, take a breath, take a pause, and then speak, that is something which will enhance your communication. But it comes with time. It's not something like, that's also I'm showing and sharing with my students as well as my trainees in public speaking. Because the more you want to improve, if you're under stress, either you start speaking very fast, like that you start eating words, or you are
Right.
like, it means, you're swallowing your own saliva. So it's important, when you're emotionally stable, you know what you're supposed to deliver, you know your content very well, or you are kind of comfortable with the people with whom you are right now, you can take a small breath and small pauses. The pause should not look like forever. ये नहीं लगना चाहिए साल भर से बोल ही नहीं रहे हैं. It should look something which is a quick pause, just to breathe and reflect that you need to do. Self-reflection is very important, especially when you're doing communication or in public speaking, or presenting, when you're presenting for board meetings. So because all those are very stressful scenarios, you're speaking in front of the public. So it's important, the
Hmm.
more you are self-aware of your mistakes, your shortcomings, try to work on it impromptu. Because some things to आप learn कर सकते हो in advance, but some things just come over. It just happens at that point of time. So if you're emotionally intelligent, if you're emotionally intelligent, you will be able to work on it instantly, smartly. But if you're not, if you're a little low on emotional quotient, you will show that you are nervous. You will show that you're not prepared, or you'll start showing body signs like fluttering with your hair or with pen or
Right.
whatever. Like, they're all signs that you can see and understand immediately. अरे भई अभी साहब nervous हो रहे हैं. Yeah, madam is not prepared. You can see those things. So that's why it's
Right.
important. You have to have a very good awareness about your those shortcomings and work on them consistently.
Wow, I mean, you not only covered the verbal communication, you have covered the non-verbal communication aspect as well. I
Mhm.
love the point here when the person is calm, like a calm sea, a
Yeah.
very smooth sea, then you can see your face and then
Hmm.
you can speak, like you can pause and speak. Amazing. It's a great, I can say, value adding technique which anyone can use. Yes, friends, this is live and you can share with your friends as well because this is a helpful, valuable session. Thank you so much, Dr. Ruby, for sharing this with all of us. Yes. Now I ask you for future upcoming leadership.
Hmm.
Now, what message you want to give Dr. Ruby to them?
When you say future leadership, it's like the people who are going to be budding managers, they are going to become.
Absolutely.
Okay. I think for budding managers who are living in the AI world, it's just the beginning. So it is very important, especially in the AI world, you need to really learn and be human centered. You have to have a very clear purpose, what is going to drive you. You have to have a very clear understanding of your culture. Like if you are in a country A, like you're working in your own country, great, then you don't have to worry about. But if you are like a person like me from India working in Switzerland, so you have to have a very good understanding of the culture that you are going to or where you are working now. Because if you try to blend the two, then you will definitely have a very good empathetic collaboration, because the more you understand the people, the more you understand the local culture, the more you're able to work well in that particular surrounding, especially in the AI enabled world. Because if you have to have a sustainable success, you have to work on these small things bit by bit. Don't take it lightly. You have to work on it. It requires a lot of energy, it requires a lot of observation, active listening, and at the same time being resilient, because it's normal. Sometimes you can taste success very quickly, and sometimes success can take time to come. So you have to be very strong, you have to be resilient, because Rome was not built in a day. We just see
Right.
beautiful cities, we see beautiful places, but all these beautiful things have a lot of history behind. It's like a tip of an iceberg. So it's important. What we see is the tip of iceberg, which looks beautiful, but below there's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of number of hours that you have given, a lot of tears, joys, energy. So make sure that you work on it step by step. Be curious, never give up. Keep ensuring that progress will come only if you are consistent. It's not one day work. So keep on working on it every day, and it will definitely transform the unclear or fear driven or hesitation driven scenarios to something which is more clear and something which is more collective, because you will always take a breath to understand those scenarios. You're not in a hurry. It's not Kahoot quiz that you have to hit the buzzer. Take your own time. Remember, slow and steady will win the race. So just go with the flow and success will come to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ruby. Yes, friends, persistence and consistency. And here we have with us Dr. Ruby. You want to share how if someone want to connect with you, how they can connect with you?
Well, we are on LinkedIn, so feel free to connect with me if you are looking for any kind of training programs in public speaking or emotional intelligence. Shweta has already taken the first step forward. She's already brought me in touch with all of you. So please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I also have my YouTube channel where I share a lot of information on emotional as well as emotional intelligence as well as public speaking. You can connect me with there as well. It's very professional, and I do share a lot of my training programs over there. And those of you who are very young, you're still not on LinkedIn or trying to carve a niche on LinkedIn, you can connect with me on Instagram as well, because it's also something which is very upcoming. And I know a lot of young people prefer to be on Instagram and they feel it's a waste of time to be on LinkedIn. So my message is that please don't take LinkedIn lightly. It's a very good platform to connect and create a niche for yourself if you are looking for something which is big in terms of your career advancement. Please connect. I'm always there to share with you, and I'll feel very happy to collaborate.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ruby. Yes, friends, please do connect and follow her on LinkedIn, Instagram, and different platforms. And yes, if any questions you have, you can put in the comment section. Thank you so much, Dr. Ruby, once again for being on this platform with us.
Thank you, Shweta. It was really amazing, and I feel so happy that a young person like you is doing amazing. You are already building up your empire by these podcasts. I wish you all the best. Keep in touch, and I'm looking forward to do something more with you.
And take care. Thank you so much, everyone. Please do share this LinkedIn Live with everyone who you know, whom you think like this LinkedIn Live can help. Thank you, everyone.